Alright. I like to ultra enhance my modular buildings, and today I'm unveiling the second part of my boutique hotel. Greetings, my fellow moisture blobs of some atomic building blocks. Name's Hans, father of the plants, porter of peel bricks, and as always, berserk for Legos. So this is going to be a slow unveiling. Each floor is going to get its own video, and today I'm showing you guys the floor with all the bathrooms, with rooms. Alright, and obviously this is part 2, so if you haven't seen part 1, I definitely recommend you can pause this video here now, open up a new tab, and go watch the part 1, finish that video, and then come back over to this tab. There are details, explanations, origin story, that even include my thoughts and review of the original set, as well as an explanation as to how I came up with this whole design. And you get to see all the rooms in the penthouse suites, and you're only going to get to see it in that video. Alright, so first things first. I'm going to give a quick tour of the outside and point out all the little different features that changed compared to the original, and then I'm going to crack this thing open and show you guys the full interior of this new floor. And last, I'll do a breakdown of how I was able to extend the angle for the larger size of the building, which is a neat little trick. So the first thing I want to point out is the light nougat color. This color was slightly controversial for some people. They just couldn't get over the fact that it was flesh tone. Yeah, I don't see it as flesh tone. It really just depends on your mental perspective. If all you're going to think about is this being flesh tone, then yeah, your brain's going to see flesh tone. What I see is I see the Southwest Mexico Spanish colonial style Adobe color, which is an earth tone that kind of blends, the color of sand with the color of red clay. So yeah, I don't see this as being human flesh colored building. It's all about your perspective. Remember how that one image of the black and blue dress went completely viral because when some people looked at it, what they saw was a white and gold dress? Yeah, that was your brain playing tricks on you. And I gotta say, when I first saw that image, all I saw was the white and gold dress. But once I learned what the true colors were, I was able to flip my mind back and forth between the blue and black dress and the white and gold dress. So the same thing applies here. And what I see is I see this fantastic stucco Adobe Southwest color, which I think is amazing. And I gotta applaud the original designers for picking this color. I think it was fantastic. Alright, starting with the balcony, just like I mentioned in part 1, the balcony is now 6 studs wide because I've now got the 6 stud wide door in here with the double opening doors. I just think that's completely magical. I'm totally imagining myself staying in this hotel and waking up early in the morning. First thing, getting up and just going straight to these glass doors, open them wide open, and this fresh breeze comes blowing in, walk out on the balcony. I've already got my coffee, and just having this, be able to experience this great view on a nice, gorgeous, tropical day. Boom. So originally, this door frame was only 4 studs wide, and so when I converted to 6 studs wide, obviously that extended this side of the building by an extra 2 studs. Now, when you get over to here, you'll notice that this column right here isn't duplicated on this face of the building. And I chose to do that on purpose. I really like how this column right here is used to separate between the two angular faces, rather than having a column here and a column here. There might have been some other logistical reasons, which I don't remember anymore, but yeah. And the way I closed off this gap right here was to just extend this face over by 1 stud. And I'm using some angle brackets and some clever trickery to get this extension over here, especially with the sand green slope right here. The real breakthrough for closing this off actually happened on the first floor. Alright, so on the angular side, you'll notice I've got 5 windows and they all line up nicely with the 5 windows up here. Because of the angles, I didn't have freedom to choose the length of the side of the building. I basically had to choose the width of the building overall. Whatever the result was on the angle, that's what it was. And because of that, it ended up being a little bit longer than what the window pattern is. So at first I had all the windows lined up on this side, and this was true to the original set, but then I ended up with extra space over here. So at first I was like, maybe I'll do a 6 stud wide window just for this one over here. But that didn't look good, especially because it didn't line up with the one on top. And then there was several times I kept shifting things around, and also the other thing that kept causing me to shift windows around was trying to coordinate the interior walls. But in the end, I decided to align all the windows to the left side, and what I did over here was I decided to extend the bay window and wrap it around by adding an extra set of windows right here on the side. And I actually like that because now when the minifigures sit in this corner, it makes the bay window feel a lot more open and a lot more visible. Alright, so now we're to the back of the building, and as I mentioned in part 1, this is where the elevator is. Now it may not look like it, but this elevator is lined with the very center of the building. If you count from this all the way over to over here, the full length of the building. Now originally I had these 2 windows set up just like these windows and as well as these windows, which meant that there would have been a 2 brick gap right here in the very middle. and I decided I didn't like that. That was a little bit weird to have a column right in the middle of your view as you're riding up the elevator, so I decided to get rid of that and join the two windows together which then meant that this column right here is 3 studs wide. When I had this set up over here, what it used to be these windows, there was the one right here and there was one right here, pretty much meant that the people staying in the penthouse suites, when they got to this floor, I mean, they could only barely see out these windows kind of at an angle because it didn't really line up with the elevator itself. That's why I put the 2 windows together and actually increased the size of these windows. All right, let's check out some elevator action. You may notice that these little arches right here, so these are 4 studs wide, and I was able to custom build this little feature, and I'm using those little bow slopes that have a little 45-degree cut right there. Another thing you'll notice is that these little arches right here, I used to have them over here as well. I ended up getting rid of them because when I moved these 2 windows to meet each other, then these were misaligned from the windows. And so what I ended up doing instead was I took these little inverted bow slopes and flipped them upside down. So there's a little special build technique. I ran out of these little pieces, but I would like to do the same technique for underneath here because it doesn't really make sense to have this feature underneath the balcony. So yeah, that's the complete exterior. Right, and this is the second to the top floor of the diamond-shaped parallelogram boutique hotel. And this is the floor where all the regular guest rooms are. And guess what? All of these rooms have their own bathrooms. So I was able to fit 4 guest rooms in here. So starting at the back of the building with the elevator, we've got the entryway. We've got 1 large room here with its bathroom. We've got 1 large room here with its bathroom. We've got a small room with its bathroom. And we've got another small room with its bathroom. Okay, starting with the elevator itself. So here's my new rail technique. Instead of Technic beams, I'm using a plate and some tiles. The glass work right there is very decorative, and that's going to be a common theme that you're going to see throughout the hotel. So taking inspiration from the very first floor, the ground floor of the lobby, each floor of this hotel is going to have its own unique design pattern. Now, as you may recall, all the buildings in my Lego city, Paradisa City, a tropical city set in the year 2060, are built for the city of the future. And if you look over here, you can see with the old ancient TV that used to be in the penthouse suite from when this building was way back in the days. Obviously, this building has been updated into the future of the year 2060, so now this TV is just kind of a remembrance of the old times, and it just kind of sits here in the entryway as a decorative piece. Because of the El Cubo Art Museum on the first floor, this hotel is going to have a lot of artwork, so here's a couple of paintings. And let's see, over there, right there. Now if we go to the first large bedroom, see how nice and spacious it is? So this is a queen size bed, and if you've seen part 1, the penthouse suites, those had king size beds, and those were 7 studs wide, where these queen size beds are only 6 studs wide. We've got a desk with the chair right there, and again, here's our balcony with the double glass doors right there. Here's the bathroom door, and then over here is the entry door. This is a solo travel vlogger. So she's got her vlogging camera right there. She just arrived to her room and she's recording everything. All right, so across from the bed is a TV. We got a plant in the corner. We've got a little sofa right there. And we got another piece of artwork. We got the armoire tucked over here next to the entrance. And of course, there's the bathroom. So the bathroom is pretty basic. We got sand green and light gray tiles. We got a shower head. We got a sink. And that's a new sink design that I created. I wanted to have a faucet that didn't have handles. So I've always been using the Lego molded faucet piece. But to me, that's a little too old school because I got a city in the future, so these are touchless. So you just put your hands underneath the faucet and it automatically turns on. So I'm gonna start building all my sinks with this new design. And then moving across, we've got this really small bedroom. It's got a regular full-size bed. It's got a little desk. We got a green chair. We got a TV. Across from the bed, we got the armoire again. The entrance door is over there. This is the bathroom door. Bathroom's the same as this guy. And moving back over to where the elevator is, this is the other small bedroom, and it's pretty much the same, slightly different layout. And this little bathroom right here, which is tucked into the corner. And then moving over to the other large bedroom. So this has got dark azure and blue. We've got a blue couch right there, and the TV, pretty much the same layout. It's a slightly different shape. And it looks like this room is already occupied because we can see their suitcases. And it looks like we can see their clothes strung all over the place. And oh, my bad. Oops, they're taking a shower. So this does have a slightly different layout because the couch is over here instead. We got the plant right there. And the desk is over here instead of being over here. We got the wall art right there. So in this bedroom here, the bathroom is right there. But because the elevator's right there, we couldn't put a bathroom there. So the bathroom is right there. This is the largest bathroom on this floor. All right, so now I want to talk about the challenge of what it took to extend the angle. Because I expanded the width of the building, the angle got longer. So I'm going to share with you today how I was able to figure this all out. Yeah. Now again, these angles got a complete thrill out of figuring this all out. It was a nice little challenge, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, one thing to point out is that the angle starts back here. It doesn't start over here. It doesn't start here. It starts back here at this point. They're using this particular angle from this wedge plate. Now, first off, I want to say that I am super stoked with how they were able to create this angle in the first place. It is a combination of two angles. And let's pretend that this angle is 15 degrees. It's not, but let's just pretend. So 15 degrees plus another 15 degrees, you've got 30 degrees right there. And that's how they were able to create this angle, which I thought was awesome. Before now, I haven't worked with these angles in such a manner. I've never had to wrap my mind around what these plates can do in such fashion. And so when I was building this boutique hotel and I saw what they did, I was like, this is awesome. So I built this little diagram just to show you guys at a close-up what that looks like. So you got the left and right wedge plates, angle to angle on each other. And so again, just pretending this is 15 degrees, 15 plus 15, and you've got a total of 30. Awesome solution for being able to get an angle that doesn't exist already on a Lego wedge plate. And so you can see that as it goes from the back to the front of the building, because I expanded the building, it ended up in an odd location. Here, you can see from these dark earth blue wedge plates, this was the width of the original building. So I got mine at 33 studs, and this one obviously is a lot shorter. And you can see that it came out really nicely for them, because here you got 8 studs wide, and with the angle coming off like this, and then the back of the building was here. So my angle came off much farther back, and then when it came down to here, I'm now left with this triangular hole in the floor. At first I was working on a bunch of other design configurations and working things out, and I was pretty preoccupied. I wasn't too concerned about filling this in. You know, my thought was, I'll get to it when I get to it. I'll probably fill it in the best that I can with some plates. There might be a little bit of hole there. I might cover it up with some floor tiles if I can, or I might cover it with some, intentionally hide it with like a furniture, like the bed or something. However, there was another feature on this building that helped me figure out a nice clean solution for that, and absolutely love it. So what was that? It was the roof to the El Cubo building. So that said, I wanted to talk about all the different angles that Lego has created, and we've got 5 of them. Now, 45-degree angle, that's standard. That's, it's half of 90. Everybody knows 45 degrees. It's the most common angle. But these other 4 angles, obviously not common. And I don't know what the angles are in degrees or radians. It doesn't matter. Lego has rightfully chosen a unit of measurement as being 1 stud, and so each angle is coordinated to a particular number of studs. So this really shallow angle right here is a 6x1. So 6 in the x-axis, 1 in the y-axis. The next one is a 4x1. The next one after that is a 3x1, and the next one after that is a 2x1. The other thing I'm doing is I'm blacking out the bottom half of the wedge plates, because all I want to talk about at this moment is the angle itself. Now, each of these wedge plates has an additional rectangle, so attached to the angle itself. So you've got a 1x6 rectangle in addition to the 1x6 angle itself. So just to kind of show you guys, I'm just blacking that out. When I talked about the angles, this 6x1, I'm only talking about the angle, not the actual size of the wedge plate. This wedge plate is actually a 2x6, right? But the angle itself is 6x1. So I'm just showing this as the angles that are overlaid, starting with the same pivot point for the starting point of the angle. And so here are the 5 different angles in their most smallest Lego plate form. So this angle is so shallow that it takes up 6 in the x-axis just to get that 1 stud in the y direction. And here, this angle is a little less shallow. It's 4x1, and then the most compact angle for this is 3x1. You got 2x1, and of course this is a 1x1. And of course the 45-degree plates, Lego makes them in all the different sizes. So they've got a 3x3, 4x4, 6x6. And so here you can see that Lego makes several different types of plates for each of these angles. This being the most shallowest angle, they make 2 of those plates. Interestingly enough, is that the 4x1, they only make this in the left and right pieces. They do make this piece, which is a symmetrical piece, but that's it. And then the 3x1, they make that in a number of different sizes. So this 6x3 plate is actually 2 of these put together. And of course, we've got this one has an additional 2x3 rectangle attached to the end of it, we got this big airplane piece, and then this guy is the symmetrical version. And then for this particular angle, interesting thing to note is that this particular plate is the only wedge plate that they make that comes down to a sharp point. This medium 01, it takes 3 of these to make it, and then we've got the 2 symmetrical versions. And just like how I showed this guy earlier, you can do that with all of the other angles. So this is the 3x1 angle, this is the 2x1 angle. You can see that by combining these 2 angles, you can get an angle that is greater than 45 degrees. And if we were to go back to this guy, or actually I'm going to use this, you can see that by combining these 2 wedge plates together gets you an angle that is less than 45 degree angle, but more than Lego's second largest angle. Now, it's not hard to calculate the actual angle, and so there are mathematical formulas for calculating the angle. So in trigonometry, we have the sine, cosine, and tangent formulas. What it does is it takes the ratio between the x distance and the y distance. So in this case, it's a 3x1. So you take the 1 divided by 3, and then you take the inverse tangent of that, and you can calculate the angle. Pretty cool. I mean, it's Lego, so we don't really care about the angle. In the perspective of Lego, everything's done in units of 1 stud. So most of these wedge plates, we're using them for airplanes and spaceships and stuff like that. So when it came to figuring out how to fill in that hole, it was kind of an aha moment when I discovered that they did something slightly different for the roof of the El Cubo. And what they did was, instead of using this wedge plate, they were using the bigger angled wedge plate, this one. And at first I was a little bit confused. I was like, why didn't they use this one? But then I realized that to get this angle, that angle is measured from the vertical over to here. Whereas on the El Cubo, that angle is measured from the horizontal angle and comes this way. So vertical to the horizontal is 90 degrees, everybody knows that. And so 90 degrees minus this angle gives us the remainder of that angle. So if we were to say from here to here is 38 degrees, then from here to the horizontal line, it's going to be like 52 degrees. And that kind of gave me a little bit of a trigonometry discovery, is that when you take the angle ratio of 3:1, double that, and you take the angle ratio of 2:1 and double that, and then you combine them, it equals 90 degrees. And so that's how they get this angle and this angle from just 2 of their wedge plates. And so if I was to take these 2 angles and join them together, what I get 90 degrees. And let's say if I were to line up a pivot point, like so, you can see that a little bit better. So 90 degrees, cool. That was a really fun discovery for me. I was like, oh, that's really neat. I did not know that. So then I want to fill in this little corner right here, and the angle being, from the starting point of the angle being from here, I can use these bigger wedge plates. Yeah. So let me kind of show that to you guys really quick. So take that off, take that off, take that off, put that on there, and like so. So now what I've done is I've taken this angle and returned it back, and now I'm back to my 8 studs wide, right there. Of course I gotta do the same thing for this guy, for the main part of the building. So let me just take this guy off. Yeah, I'll take that guy off. And this guy off. And I'll take that guy off. What I'll do is I'll put this guy in its place. Put this guy on there. And I'll put that guy on there. And I'll put this guy on there. So here you can see I've got the 3:1 angle going this way, and then I've got the 2:1 angle ratio going that way. And voila! So you can see angle comes down, and then I've got it to return that way. And so I've got a nice clean floor or roof or whatever. And that just made me totally giggly, because this is absolutely amazing. I loved kind of figuring that out. And I just gotta give props to the Lego designer going through the work and creating this angle and figuring it all out and putting it into this building, because it just, I'm thrilled by it. I think it's completely awesome. It taught me some stuff. And the other nice thing too is that, like, you know, I took calculus and trigonometry in college, and to be able to kind of use the map to kind of confirm all that, the angle measurements and stuff like that, was kind of cool. Now, I didn't have to use any of the Pythagorean triples or near triples. So I do know that on the ground floor, where they built this wall at an angle, and also where they attach the front entrance to the base plate, there are certain studs on the orientation of the regular base plate where studs here on this angle do line up. And so I think it's like for every 5, up 5 over 4 or something like that. That might be one possible calculation to use for the Pythagorean triple. Totally thought I would share that nice little technique. Having figured this out, it definitely made things a lot easier for me to build up this all out. Now I do want to say that when I extended this to the 33 studs, this whole portion obviously got longer, and this angle moved from here over to here. Now one thing to note is that when I was expanding this, the smallest plate that Lego makes for this particular angle is the 3:1. So when you're expanding this, you can only expand it every 3 studs, so you can't do even numbers. I couldn't just expand it to 32 studs, because I'm limited by the 3 studs of this plate. So it would have either been 30 studs or 33 studs. I love figuring out overly complicated configurations and build techniques. Sometimes it's frustrating and sometimes it takes me a really long time. And one such example are the escalators on my Grand Emporium. So if you haven't seen my Grand Emporium and you haven't seen my motorization of the new escalator link, I definitely recommend to go check out that video. I've got 2 videos. One is a tutorial on the escalator itself, and the other one is you can see my full modular expansion custom built Grand Emporium with 5 floors. Totally awesome. Highly recommend it. And on that note, I will say that stay tuned for next week because the floor below this is something I'm really excited about. And on that note, I will check you guys later. Alright.